All right, today's conversation. Oh, by the way, hello everybody. God bless you all. I wanted to talk today about peace and safety and go a little bit deeper into that. I've noticed a couple things. I saw one from another video here a couple months ago, and just I didn't put too much into it except for the fact that it was interesting. And now, with more information coming out, we're coming to learn more and more every day. And but before I get started into that, I wanted to go back into a video that I did in I guess a couple 3 weeks ago, relating to 2017, the number 17. And here's the one chapter from Psalm 117, how it relates to the middle of the Bible. You know, dividing of the word, dividing of the water. It's right in the middle, and this is where I had mentioned, everything here is the nations, the Gentiles, who are praising uh, the Lord for everything. And this, everybody, pastors, everybody has said how they relate the Psalms to the years, and 2017 is the one that equals for 2017. It goes for a number from 1948. You go to, was it 48? Because Psalms is the 19th book of the Bible. So, anyways, what I wanted to get into here was you can see here that it's about nations. We go one step forward, and I mentioned this in the last video as well. And we go to Psalm 118, which for us would relate to 2018. In the Hebrew calendar for the Jews, though, it would go at Feast of Trumpets this year, and Tishri 1, which is late September, and would go into our 2018, till September, October next year. So for them, this is year 5778, which begins later in September. And I had mentioned before that now it's no longer the Gentiles praising. It's now Israel say his mercy endures. Now the house of Aaron now say that his mercy endures. And what I also found out, I was doing a little bit more study into this, and there's something else that relates to these Psalms, and in particular Psalm 118. And here's what it has to deal with. I guess you'd say Hallel, and what it is, it's the song of praise to God. And it's from verses 113 to 118. Now, do you understand when this is sung? This is where it gets really interesting. This is sung at Passover. So it's the 6 Psalms that they sing, and I guess they do break them down at certain points, but Passover is sung, Psalms 118 is sung at Passover. And what's really interesting about that is understanding that Jesus was killed on Passover, that he was, hung on the cross on Passover and died. This is something that Mark Biltz had touched on just the other day in one of his new teachings or videos. And what it was the understanding that this is being sung at Passover. Now, we understood that, they're sacrificing the lamb, and Jesus was the lamb. That would have been happening at the same time. But could you imagine there were hundreds of thousands, if not million or so people in Israel at that time, in where Jesus was, and at the temple and around and within their homes and everything, and they're singing at 9 a.m., they're singing this Psalm 118. And, excuse me, we go into Psalm 118. Where was I? I was at something else. Just give me a second here. We go to Psalm 118, and we start to take this a little deeper here. So Psalm 118, we've gone through this, what it says for Psalm 117 as well. And when you understand that, we know that Jesus was hung on the cross, it would have been around 9 a.m., I guess it was, and that these people are singing this at 9 a.m. Well, what's the big deal that they're singing this at 9 a.m., even though it's relating to Israel and to the house of Israel? Well, check this verse out. Right when they're singing this verse, this chapter in the Bible, they're singing, "Bind the sacrifice with cords, even unto the horns of the altar." This is literally what's taken place when Jesus is being tied to the cross. So like I showed you before, I believe still that this is the date. I may have some new information about some other dates here from a new subscriber. We'll see what happens here if I get an email from them. But I'll get back to you on that. It's not so much relating to this, but it could touch on this. I had discussed before how I believe that this date, which was the year 31, AD 31, April 25th, and this is what they would have seen in the sky. So remember, at about noon, the sky goes dark, right? Again, we don't know. That's one of those mysteries where we don't know if was it, this whole comet or this other planetary system or whatever it was that was large enough to cause the eclipse of the sun for 3 hours. But here's what they would have seen. It was looking like this in Israel between noon and 3 when he died on the cross. Well, let's take the atmosphere out. And here's what you got. So I've taken out the less bright stars to be able to see it better. Here it is. And I showed you guys this the last time. This is what the centurion guards were looking at. So you can imagine they're down here on earth and they're looking up. And as they're looking up, they're seeing messenger, king. They're seeing all of this stuff here where he was pierced on the side. And they said, surely this was the Son of God. Right? Because of all these events that had taken place. And whoops. Now if we go and so see, here's the other thing I wanted to say too regarding the date. Let me slide this over. We have 31 AD, Wednesday, April 25th, Passover. This is just more evidence to show you guys that this is the date that really points to it. To where he was when he was sacrificed or crucified. It was on a Wednesday. We've talked about that a lot. From the Catholics, they'll believe that it was a Friday, which makes no sense because after 3 days and nights in the belly of the earth, the next day he was risen and people saw him and so forth. Well, obviously that's Sunday day. This gives you evidence of it right here. So Passover was Wednesday, April 25th, 31 AD. And I just showed you what they would have seen in the sky at that time as well. So I just thought that was really interesting that here they are sacrificing and they're doing it on this day while that's being sung. And I know a lot of us understand that. But here's the thing. It's in verse 118. And I've been like I said in my last video, we were discussing how 117 relates to 2017, 118 relates to 2018. And it's just the way it's been working in our calendar, going back, like I said, 1948, 67. You go back in all these verses and you can relate them. And here we are, 118, and they were sacrificing Jesus while reading this. So I don't know, how to tie this all in except to say, again, 2018. It's when they read it, and it's 2018. Theirs is starting in September, and ours into the new year, and there they were sacrificing them. And this is the same time frame now, coming up to the same time from the same song relating to the same year. I just thought I would throw that in. There's a lot more digging that would have to go into this one, but I just thought I would throw that in there as a little add-in to, the last 117, 118 that I talked about, the fact that we know that Jesus was crucified while they were singing this, and it's this song now that we know that they were singing. I just thought it was very interesting how it relates to exactly the time we're in, and that first day of this is the Feast of Trumpets and the sign in the sky when we could be gone. That's when the Lord left, when we received his spiritual body. 3 days later, bang. I think there's something there, but I'm not going too far into that today. The main piece I wanted to get into today was who are they in when they say peace and safety, right? So I prefer it in eSword. I think eSword is so awesome. You can find all your definitions, everything you're wanting to search up. It's just it's awesome. So there's a lot more to this than just for when they say peace and safety, right? For when they say, who are they? And I'll show you, when we say they, I'll do a little video clip and I'll show you who they are saying peace and safety. But they're all as individuals. So here, let's go to that now. And we'll see a little clip to they saying peace and safety. But we haven't seen sudden destruction yet. So let's go have a look.
For the good of all, I encourage everyone to double up efforts and initiatives aimed at creating the conditions for a stable peace based on justice, on the recognition of everyone's rights, and on mutual security.
The cooperative effort of the whole world. That's how we will find new pathways to peace and security. That is the work that we must do. The promotion of peace and security. And the goal is clear. 2 states living side by side in peace and security.
Global peace and security.
The biggest threat to peace and security in the world today.
Discuss peace and security in the Middle East.
And we stand together because peace must come to the Holy Land.
2 states, Israel and Palestine, living side by side in peace and security.
Is one of peace, security, and prosperity that will protect the safety of our people and enhance the security of our wonderful friends.
So now we're back. We saw who they are saying peace and safety, and we haven't seen sudden destruction. But we can see how it's when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child. And here we go again, right back into the Revelation 12 sign. So how is it that we're not seeing this yet? How come nothing with this peace and safety? They've been saying it forever. Well, here's the thing. Peace and safety as a they, from the video we just watched, the clips, those are all the individuals who are saying it, right? We have Obama. We even had President Trump. We had John Kerry. We've had Netanyahu. So many of them all over the world, part of the UN saying peace and safety, peace and security. By the way, peace and security and peace and safety is the exact same thing. Here's your safety. It means security. Safety, security. So same thing. So we're not seeing anything, but they're individually all saying it. However, the UN hasn't been saying it. Individuals within the UN are saying it. So how about the UN? Well, let's have a look here. In 2001, there was a change. This part was from, I learned this too from Mark Biltz. But as we go a step further into it, we understand what exactly and how this could relate perfectly, because we remember it has to be perfect, how it relates to when they say peace and safety. 2002, so they changed it in 2001, because in 2001, after 9/11, they were holding it in early September, and they could no longer hold it in early September after what happened on 9/11. So they moved it and made a determined date for September 21st moving forward every year. And from 2002 to 2006, they just called it International Day of Peace. But from 2007 on, they always called it something. And here we could see peace is the United Nations' highest calling. So there had something here. It was always peace something, peace, education of peace, sustainable peace, right to people's peace, peace for partnership. So we could see it was always peace and something. But check this out. September 21st, the UN's International Day of Peace this year falls on Rosh Hashanah, Feast of Trumpets, day 1 of the 2-day feast. And when you consider when they say peace and safety, now we don't have safety anywhere yet. We have just peace. So let's look a little bit further and see if we have more into this. Now we have to remember, when I went into these dates here, I went back into the calendars and looked from 2001 to 2016. This UN International Day of Peace never fell on Rosh Hashanah, the Feast of Trumpets, ever. You can literally go back yourself, just go into the Hebrew calendar, and you could look them all up here. In fact, we won't do that. We don't need to take time to go through all that. But see, you can just go to this website here, and there's all sorts of different links. You can come up here, and you can find all the Hebrew dates. So we go from September 21st, 2001. See, 18th was when it started. So you can do that all the way through. Now, if we go, and I didn't have my settings, you go all the way to 2017, as we all know. This year, the UN Day of Peace will be on Rosh Hashanah, or Feast of Trumpets. So, again, we have these dates here, all the years that they put it through since they moved it to the 21st, and it has never fallen on Rosh Hashanah, which is the Feast of Trumpets, the blowing of the trumpets to announce the king, they have 11 main reasons about blowing the trumpets, and it's announcing the king is the number one. So again, this is very interesting. But now let's go to 2017. So we know it's the 21st, Rosh Hashanah, Feast of Trumpets, first time ever. Again, everything has to fit perfectly. It's God's calendar. It must fit perfectly. So let's see what they're doing this year, guys. The theme for 2017, we saw all those other themes. The theme for this year, the first time it's on the Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah, it's together for peace, respect, safety, and dignity for all. So, together unites the organizations of the United Nations system, the 193 member states of the United Nations, for peace and safety. Remember, none of these others had peace and safety. It's always peace, but this one is the first one that has safety. Do you understand the reach and what this could literally be pointing to? The little video clip of Obama and Trump and all these people individually saying peace and safety are all individuals part of the UN. Now, on this day, 2017, first day of the year in the Hebrew calendar, it falls, and not only do they say peace, but now they have also included safety. Who is the they when we look at the video? Those are all individuals. The they as a whole is the United Nations. The United Nations as a whole, I believe, is the they. That is what I'm getting at. And this year, right on the date that it should take place, right in God's calendar, right with when they say peace and safety, when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes. Right? So, for you, brethren, we know the season. See, it tells us right here. We're watching the season. It's not going to overtake us as a thief in the night because we're watching. We know the season. So for those who are awake, this isn't any big surprise. But here's one more thing pointing to the Feast of Trumpets of this year in 2017. One more thing. We now have another piece, which is, where are the they? Individually, these they, it's getting confusing. Individually, these they have been saying peace and safety for years, and we have not seen destruction. Now we see peace and safety, and the total of the they is making that their international day this year right on the day. I know I'm beating it to death, but now what happens after that? Then sudden destruction will come upon them. Of course, them is the they. As travail upon a woman with child, and they again shall not escape. Guys, this is another part of the Revelation 12 sign that hadn't been put together yet, in my opinion. There's been people who have discussed it, but I've never seen anybody directly point to what's going on here with the UN this 21st of September on Rosh Hashanah, the Feast of Trumpets, because it has to be perfect in God's time. And here it is, as travail upon a woman with child. See, upon a woman with child. She hasn't delivered yet. Here we go. I mean, guys, I saw this and I just, oh my goodness. Another thing, it just blew my mind that it's relating perfectly. It has the exact fit to what we talk about, what everybody's been talking about with the Revelation 12 sign. And she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder. And I'm sure if we were able to tie this in there too, with that other planetary system, when we go back to the earlier part of this video, when there was that eclipse of the sun for 3 hours, it wasn't just one of those things that God said and there was an eclipse for 3 hours because that's just the way it said it in the Bible. We got to remember, we have to remember, on earth as it is in heaven. That's a prayer to what's in the sky, what's being seen. And it's the same type of relation. It's the same thing with the Revelation 12 sign. It would have been the same thing, I believe. And there's God's timetable or God's timeline to the end. I'm going to post one of his newest videos. I thought it was fantastic. I'm going to do a repost here on my channel in the next couple days. It's a long video. It's about an hour and 40 minutes long, but it's worth it, especially maybe the 50-minute mark on if you didn't want to watch the whole thing. But, you know, I would even recommend watching the whole thing. You know, he'll go in and explain that, and there's been a lot of people talking about the sign of Noah, right? The sign of Noah, and there was the eclipse, how Nineveh, modern-day Mosul, they were ready when he arrived because everything that was going on, and he arrived at the eclipse time. So I can understand and see how that all fits and how it may be relating to when Jesus died on the cross, when when Jonah was going to Nineveh, and to what's being discussed here in the Revelation 12 sign. So, I mean, all of these things, I've got 2 or 3 other videos that I did that were so many things just pointing over and over and over and over again to 2017 and to the Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah. And we have to remember, guys, if it doesn't line up perfectly, if the dates and the feasts and the events that had taken place in history based on the Word of God, if they don't line up, it means nothing. It's not accurate. It has to line up. And here is another one where we have they saying peace and safety, and it's on that date, and sudden destruction comes upon them. Which sudden destruction comes upon them? Possibly this part or what happens after this part. You know, and then they go running for the hills, right? I don't think that happens right away. I believe that's still a little bit later. You know, I don't know what to say. I'm going to keep repeating, so I'll end the video here because the main thing I wanted to get across was just that little update, that little additional piece on Psalm 117 and 118. But the big thing here was in regards to 1 Thessalonians 5, when they say peace and safety. Here are the they all saying it as a whole, and they're saying peace and safety for the first time ever together, and they're saying it on the feast day. I mean, come on, it's just another thing, guys, and it's bang on the day. So with that, I just want to say God bless. You know, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is coming soon, and if you haven't found him yet, give your heart to him. If you're looking for, you know, people to follow, churches in your area, send us a comment in the comment box. You can request my email for this channel if you'd like. And I know some across North America, some great pastors that I follow across North America, as well as Australia. Outside of that, maybe 1 or 2 in Europe, but not too many. So for North America and into Australia, you know, let me know, and hopefully we can help direct you a little bit there. Again, God bless you. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, please let us know. And as always, you can share this stuff, you can download it, you can copy it, you can, share it with whoever, however you'd like. So thanks again, and God bless.